have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt that something was off? Not because anyone said anything, not because of anything visible. You just knew, and everyone else seemed completely oblivious. If this sounds familiar, you're about to understand why. There are certain experiences that only happen to people who operate at a higher vibration, not higher as in better than others, higher as in more attuned, more aware, more connected to something that most people have forgotten exists. And today, I'm going to share with you 7 of these experiences. 7 things that only happen to people with a high level of awareness. If even 3 of these resonate with you, what you are about to learn will change how you see yourself. Forever. Eckhart Tolle, the renowned spiritual teacher, spent decades understanding consciousness, and what he discovered is that presence, true presence, generates what he calls an energy field of high vibrational frequency. He says that no unconsciousness, no negativity, no discord can enter that field and survive, just as darkness cannot survive in the presence of light. But here's what most people miss. This is not something you achieve through effort. It's something you recognize, something that has always been there, something that explains why you experience things that others simply do not. Let me start with the first sign. Number 1. You experience synchronicities that others dismiss as coincidence. You think of someone, and they call you within minutes. You need an answer to a question, and a book falls off the shelf with the exact page you needed. You feel pulled to go somewhere, and when you arrive, something important happens. To most people, these are just random coincidences. But to you, they happen too often to be random. There's a pattern, a rhythm, as if the universe is sending you signals in a language that others cannot hear. Tolle explains this beautifully. He says that when you are present, when you are aligned with the deeper intelligence of life, you become a channel for positive energy. Things flow to you because you are no longer resisting, you're no longer blocking, with constant mental noise. Researchers studying consciousness have found something fascinating. People who report frequent synchronicities also show increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain associated with higher awareness and intuition. Their brains are literally processing reality differently, and here's something that might surprise you. The more you notice these synchronicities, the more they happen. Not because you're manifesting them, but because you're finally seeing what was always there. You're tuning into a frequency that was always broadcasting. You just didn't have the receiver on. If you experience this regularly, you are operating at a vibration that most people never access. But this is just the beginning. Number 2, you can sense the energy of people before they speak. This one is difficult to explain to those who don't experience it. But if you do, you know exactly what I mean. You meet someone and within seconds, you know something about them. Not their job, not their history. Something deeper. You sense their state, their intentions, their level of consciousness. And sometimes you feel something that disturbs you, something behind their smile that doesn't match their words. Everyone else seems charmed, but you see through it. And when you try to explain this to others, they think you're being judgmental or paranoid. But you're not judging, you're perceiving. There's a difference. Tolle talks about this in terms of emotional baggage. He says that some people carry a heavy field of accumulated emotional pain. And if you're sensitive, if you operate at a higher frequency, you can feel that inner turmoil approaching before they even open their mouth. Science now has evidence for this. Research on highly sensitive people shows that their mirror neuron systems are significantly more active than average. They're literally picking up on micro-expressions, subtle shifts in energy, and emotional undercurrents that most people completely miss. This is not a curse. This is information. The question is what you do with it. But I want to be clear about something. This ability to sense energy is not about avoiding everyone who feels heavy. Sometimes the people who trigger you the most are showing you something about yourself. We'll get to that later. For now, understand this. If you can feel the energy of a room the moment you walk in, if you know things about people that you logically should not know, this is not your imagination. This is your frequency. Number 3, Negative environments drain you in ways that others don't understand. This connects directly to what I just said, but it goes deeper. Have you ever spent time in a chaotic environment and felt physically exhausted afterward? Not tired because you did physical work, but depleted, like something was pulled out of you. Meanwhile, the people around you seem completely fine. They don't understand why you need to leave. They don't understand why you're so affected. This is not weakness. This is actually a sign of heightened awareness. Tolle explains that high-frequency states cannot coexist with low-frequency environments without some form of impact. He says that presence is like light. When light enters a dark room, either the darkness dissolves or the light diminishes. Something has to give. When you're in a negative environment, your system is constantly working to maintain its frequency. It's exhausting because you're processing not just your own energy, but the energy of everyone around you. Neuroscience backs this up. The HeartMath Institute discovered that your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. And when you're around people with chaotic or anxious heart fields, your own field can become disrupted. This is why you feel drained. It's not imagination, it's physics. The solution is not to hide from the world. The solution is to understand what's happening so you can protect your energy intentionally. We'll talk about how to do that. But first, let me share something that many high-frequency people experience but rarely talk about. Number 4, animals and children are drawn to you. This one surprises people because it seems unrelated to spirituality or consciousness, but it's deeply connected. Have you noticed that animals seem to trust you immediately? That dogs who are nervous around strangers relax when they meet you? That cats who ignore everyone else come to sit in your lap? And children, have you noticed that babies make eye contact with you? That young children want to talk to you, play with you, even when their parents are right there? This is not coincidence. Animals and children, they haven't yet developed the thick mental filters that adults have. They aren't yet identified with the ego. They perceive energy directly, without the interference of social conditioning and mental interpretation. When they are drawn to you, they are recognizing something. They are sensing your vibration. They feel safe because your energy is coherent. It's not threatening because it's not chaotic. Eckhart Tolle says that animals live in a state of natural presence. They don't think about the past or worry about the future. They are fully here. And when they encounter a human who is also present, who also radiates stillness beneath the surface activity, they recognize it immediately. If animals consistently gravitate toward you, if children open up to you in ways that surprise their parents, this is one of the clearest signs that you operate at a higher vibration. But there's something else that happens, something that can be confusing if you don't understand it. Number 5, you've lost interest in things that once excited you. This is the one that makes many people with a higher awareness think something is wrong with them, because society tells us that losing interest is a sign of depression, that we should always be excited and motivated and chasing the next thing. But what if the truth is different? What if losing interest in superficial things is actually a sign of growth? What if it means you've outgrown pursuits that no longer align with who you are becoming? Let me ask you something. Have you lost interest in gossip, in drama, in material pursuits that used to motivate you? Do parties and social gatherings that once excited you now feel exhausting and pointless? If so, you are not broken. You are evolving. Tolle describes this as a natural consequence of awakening. He says that as consciousness expands, what once seemed important begins to feel hollow. Not because you're depressed, but because you are now seeing through illusions that used to captivate you. This can be lonely, because the people around you are still excited about things that you can no longer pretend to care about. You smile and nod, but inside you feel disconnected. This is temporary. Eventually you will find new interests, deeper interests, pursuits that align with your expanded consciousness. But during the transition, it can feel like you are floating between worlds. If you are experiencing this, do not fight it. This is your vibration rising, and the things that matter to your future self haven't revealed themselves yet, but they will. Before I continue, I want to share something important about these signs. What I'm describing is not about being special or better than others. Everyone has access to higher vibration states. Most people have simply forgotten. They are identified with their thoughts, their problems, their past, their fears. You are not superior. You're just more aware. And with that awareness comes responsibility, not to preach, not to convert, but to hold your vibration, to be a stabilizing presence in a world that desperately needs it. Now let me continue with the sixth sign. Number 6. You need more time alone than most people understand. This is connected to what I said about negative environments draining you, but it goes deeper. People with higher awareness often need significant time alone, not because they're antisocial, not because they dislike people, but because solitude is where they recharge, where they reconnect with themselves, where they process everything they've absorbed from the world. And most people don't understand this. They think you're being distant, cold, avoiding them. They take it personally when you need to be alone. They can't comprehend that for you. Solitude is not loneliness. It's a necessity. Eckhart Tolle himself is known for long periods of solitude. He has said that stillness is where consciousness recognizes itself, that the noise of constant interaction can obscure the deeper truth of who you are. Research on introverts and highly sensitive people shows that their nervous systems process stimulation more deeply. What feels energizing to an extrovert can be overwhelming to someone who is more attuned. They need time to integrate experiences, to return to their baseline, to remember who they are beneath all the impressions. If you crave solitude not because you hate people, but because you need it to function, this is a sign of your vibration. This is not something to fix. This is something to honor. But there's one more sign, and it might be the most important one. Number 7. You feel a sense of mission that you can't quite define. This is the one that keeps you up at night, the one that makes you feel both chosen and confused at the same time. You have this persistent feeling that you're here for something, that there's a purpose to your life that goes beyond just surviving, paying bills, and doing what society expects. Something bigger, something that involves helping others, creating change, being part of something meaningful. But when you try to define it, it slips through your fingers. You can't put it into words. You just know. And sometimes this knowing is frustrating, because you want clarity. You want a clear mission statement. You want someone to tell you exactly what you're supposed to do, but that's not how it works. Tolle says that the deeper purpose reveals itself through presence, not through thinking. He says that your life has both an outer purpose, which changes, and an inner purpose, which is always the same. The inner purpose is to awaken, to become fully present, to recognize who you are beyond your thoughts and stories. And here's what most people miss. When you align with your inner purpose, the outer purpose takes care of itself. You don't have to figure it out. It figures you out. The sense of mission you feel is not delusion. It's your consciousness recognizing that it has work to do. Not ego work. Soul work. The kind of work that emerges naturally when you stop trying to control everything and start trusting the intelligence of life itself. If you feel this inexplicable sense of purpose, this is perhaps the clearest sign that you operate at a higher vibration. You are tuned into something that most people have forgotten exists. Now let me bring all of this together. Remember when I mentioned that difficult people can be mirrors? Let me explain what I mean. One of the characteristics of people with higher awareness is that they attract situations that accelerate their growth. This includes people who trigger them, people who seem designed to push their buttons. This is not random, and it's not punishment. Eckhart Tolle explains that the people who irritate you most are often showing you where you are not yet free. They are mirrors, reflecting back the parts of you that still need healing. The anger they trigger is your anger. The judgment they provoke is your judgment. This is difficult to accept because it's much easier to blame them. But higher awareness living is about taking full responsibility for your inner state, even when others behave unconsciously. This doesn't mean you tolerate abuse. It doesn't mean you stay in toxic situations. But it means you recognize that every trigger is an invitation to go deeper, to dissolve more of your emotional baggage, to become more free. The more you do this work, the less affected you become by external circumstances, not because you stop feeling, but because you are no longer at the mercy of every passing emotion. Now, there's something I need to address, because some of you watching this might be thinking, this sounds like me, but I feel broken, not special. I understand. Being a high vibration person isn't always easy. In fact, in many ways, it's harder. You feel more. You see more. You're affected by things that others don't even notice. And if you grew up in an unconscious environment, you probably learned to hide your sensitivity, to pretend you were like everyone else, to suppress the very things that make you different. This creates inner turmoil, and your emotional baggage accumulates. And you might look at this list and think, I used to be like this, but now I just feel exhausted and numb. That doesn't mean you lost your frequency. It means it's buried under layers of survival, under years of trying to fit in, under the weight of a world that doesn't understand you. The good news is that it can be uncovered. Presence dissolves the layers. Awareness melts the armor. You don't have to become something new. You have to remember what you always were. And that is the deepest teaching. Eckhart Tolle says that awakening isn't about achieving a new state. It's about recognizing what was always there, beneath the clutter, beneath the thoughts, beneath the emotional turmoil. You aren't becoming high vibration. You're remembering that you were never anything else. The noise just made you forget. Now let me give you something practical. Something you can do today to reconnect with your frequency. It's simpler than you might expect. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, before you plan your day, take 5 minutes to just be. Sit in stillness. Feel your body. Sense the aliveness that's there whether you notice it or not. Don't try to achieve anything. Don't try to feel a certain way. Just be present. This sounds too simple to work, but it's not. What you're doing is re-establishing connection with your natural frequency. Before the world has a chance to disturb it, you're creating a foundation of presence that carries you through the day. Tolle calls this presence anchoring, and it works because it reminds your nervous system of its true state, calm, alert, connected. The more you do this, the more you'll notice the 7 signs I described, not because you're creating them, but because you're clearing the interference that was blocking your perception of them. But let me give you a second practice, because maintaining your frequency throughout the day is just as important as establishing it in the morning. Tolle teaches what he calls the inner body awareness technique several times throughout the day, Bass. Wherever you are, take a moment to feel the aliveness in your hands. Feel the subtle energy in your fingers, your palms. Don't think about your hands and feel them from within. This takes 3 seconds. You can do it while waiting in line, while sitting in a meeting, while talking to someone. Nobody knows you're doing it. What this does is remarkable. It anchors you in presence instantly. It stops the mind from running away with its endless commentary. And it keeps your frequency elevated, even in challenging environments. The more you practice this, the more automatic it becomes. Eventually, now you walk through the world in a state of constant subtle awareness, not tense awareness, relaxed awareness, alert stillness. And there's a third practice that I want to share. This one is specifically for moments when you feel your frequency dropping, when you notice yourself becoming reactive, or irritated, or anxious. Don't fight the feeling. Instead, turn your attention to the feeling itself. Observe it, as if you were watching it from a slight distance. Where's the feeling in your body? What's its texture? Its temperature? How's it changing? When you observe a feeling with curiosity, rather than resistance, something remarkable happens. The feeling can't maintain its grip on you. It begins to dissolve, not because you suppressed it, but because the light of awareness touched it. This is what Tolle means when he says that nothing can survive in the light of presence. Your conscious attention is the light, and no negative emotion can withstand that light for long. Practice these three things. Morning presence, inner body awareness throughout the day, and conscious observation when reactivity arises. Do this for 30 days, and your frequency will stabilize in ways you can't imagine right now. Now let me address something else that high awareness people often wonder about. Why did I come into this life as a sensitive person? Why was I born into a family that didn't understand me? Why did I have to go through so much pain to get to where I am now? Tolle suggests that the soul chooses its circumstances for a reason, not as punishment, but as curriculum. The challenges you faced were precisely designed to develop the awareness you now have. Think about it. If you had been born into a perfectly conscious family, if everything had been easy, would you have searched? Would you have questioned? Would you be watching this video right now? The friction created the spark. The darkness made you seek the light. The pain forced you to find a path beyond pain. This isn't spiritual bypassing. This isn't pretending that what happened to you was okay. It's recognizing that you're not a victim of your past. You're a graduate of it. And now, with the awareness you've developed, you can help others who are still struggling, not by preaching, but by being, by radiating, by holding a frequency that reminds them of what's possible. You're not broken. You're not crazy. You're not too sensitive. You're tuned into something real, something that science is only beginning to understand, something that the great teachers have pointed to for thousands of years. If this video helped you recognize something about yourself that you couldn't put into words before, I want you to know that creating content like this takes time and research, and if you found value here, the super thanks button below is a way to let me know that this really resonates with you. It's a huge help. It helps me continue bringing these teachings to more people who need them, but more than any support, what I really want is to hear from you. In the comment, tell me which of these 7 signs you experience most often. Which one made you pause and think? That is exactly how I feel. I read every comment, and the conversations that happen in this community are often as valuable as the video itself. You are not alone in this. There are thousands of people watching who feel exactly what you feel. So share your thoughts. Remember, your sensitivity is not a curse, your higher vibration is not a mistake. You are here for a reason, and the fact that you watched this entire video is itself a sign. Most people would have scrolled right past, but you felt something. You recognized something. That recognition is proof of what you are. Now I want to leave you with one final thought, a powerful one. Dr. Lisa Miller, a professor at Columbia University who has dedicated her career to researching spirituality and the brain, discovered something truly remarkable. She found that the brains of spiritually aware people show consistent patterns of neural activity, patterns that are distinctly different from the general population. Specifically, they show thicker prefrontal cortices and unique activation patterns in areas associated with meaning, connection, and transcendence. But here is what really surprised her. These brain patterns were not created by spiritual practice. They were revealed by it, meaning the capacity was always there. The practices simply uncovered what was already present. It's not about creating something new. It's about unveiling the truth that's always been within you. You are not creating your higher awareness. You are uncovering it, revealing what was already present. And every moment of presence, every act of conscious awareness, every time you choose stillness over reactivity, you are clearing away another layer of what was blocking your true nature. Like dusting off a precious gem to reveal its brilliance, the world needs your vibration. Not because you need to save anyone, but because your presence alone helps others remember their own, A calm nervous system calms the nervous systems around it, creating a ripple effect of peace. A coherent heart field helps others become coherent, fostering connection and understanding. It's a domino effect of positivity and healing. By doing your work, by maintaining your higher vibration, you are offering something precious to every person you encounter. Even if you never say a word, your energy speaks volumes. This is your gift. This is why you are different. This is why you are here. And it's a powerful, beautiful thing. And now you know. You understand your purpose, your value, your potential. I will see you in the next video. And remember, you are not alone on this journey. Keep shining your light.